life is not gentle. It doesn't care about your feelings, your plans, or how much you wish things were easier. It will hit you without warning, sometimes when you're already on your knees. And in those moments, most people break. They complain, they blame, they hide. They tell themselves it's not their fault, that the world is against them. But deep down, they know the truth. They were never ready for the fight. Mental weakness is not about lacking intelligence or talent. It's about lacking the resilience to keep moving forward when everything in you wants to quit. It's the quiet surrender, the slow collapse that happens when you let fear, doubt, and comfort run your life. And here's the hard truth. The world will not wait for you to toughen up. If you keep folding under pressure, life will keep finding ways to break you. Look around. The people you admire, the ones who inspire you, aren't superhuman. They've been through storms far worse than yours. They've been rejected, betrayed, ridiculed, and knocked down, but they refuse to stay down. What separates them from the rest is not luck. It's not a privilege. It's mental strength. Mental strength is the ability to keep walking when your legs feel like lead, to keep believing when the evidence says you shouldn't, to keep showing up when every part of you wants to disappear. It's forged in discomfort, in challenges, in moments where giving up seems so much easier. And the only way to get it is to stop being mentally weak. Maybe you've noticed it in yourself, the way you overthink instead of act, the way you avoid hard conversations, the way you quit halfway through something you swore you'd finish. Maybe you get offended easily, or let other people's opinions dictate your choices. Maybe you run to comfort at the first sign of discomfort. That's not because you're incapable, it's because you've been feeding weakness instead of strength. Here's what you need to understand. Your mind is like a muscle. Neglect it, and it becomes fragile. Challenge it, and it becomes unbreakable. And if you truly want to change your life, you must stop protecting your weakness and start building your strength. That means no more excuses. No more blaming the past. No more waiting for the right time. The right time is now, and the right person is you. This video is not going to pat you on the back and tell you everything will work out if you just stay positive. I'm here to tell you that if you don't decide right now to toughen up mentally, the world will eat you alive. But if you do decide, if you commit to training your mind the way a fighter trains their body, then there will come a day when nothing can shake you. By the end of this, you will have the tools to replace weakness with resilience, self-doubt with confidence, and fear with courage. But tools mean nothing without action. So as you listen, make a decision. Not a wish, not a hope. A decision that you will stop being mentally weak. Because life is coming for you. The storms will arrive. The setbacks will happen. The pain will be real. But you are capable of so much more than you've been showing the world. Stop being the person who crumbles. Start being the person who stands. This is your turning point. Part 1. Accept the harsh reality. One of the biggest signs of mental weakness is the refusal to see life as it truly is. People sugarcoat their failures, rewrite the story to protect their ego, or pretend their situation isn't as bad as it really is. They say, it's not that serious when deep down they know it is. They cling to fantasies instead of facts, and because of that, they never change. Here's the truth most people can't handle. Life will not adjust itself to make you comfortable. The world doesn't care about your dreams just because you have them. It doesn't care about your struggles just because they're hard for you.
Bills still come when you're tired. Problems still happen when you're stressed. Opportunities disappear when you hesitate. That's reality. Mentally strong people don't waste energy wishing for an easier path. They focus on becoming stronger for the path they have. They face the truth head-on, no matter how uncomfortable it is. They say, this is where I am. This is what I have. This is what I must do. No self-pity. No pretending. Just clarity. Let me give you a picture. Imagine two people lose their jobs on the same day. The first one spends weeks complaining about how unfair it was, blaming the economy, their boss, or bad luck. They stay in denial, waiting for someone to rescue them. The second one takes a deep breath, accepts that it happened, and immediately starts building a plan, cutting expenses, applying for work, learning new skills. One is stuck in a fantasy that life should have been different. The other is already moving forward. Guess which one becomes stronger? When you refuse to accept reality, you give away your power. You can't fix what you won't face. You can't prepare for what you won't acknowledge. And every time you turn away from the truth, you train your mind to be weaker. But when you accept it, even when it hurts you, take the first step toward control. Action step. Right now, grab a piece of paper and write down the hard truths you've been avoiding, the financial mess you keep ignoring, the unhealthy habits you pretend aren't a problem, the relationship that's draining you. Be brutally honest with yourself. No filters, no excuses, just the raw truth. This isn't about being negative. It's about clearing the fog so you can see the road ahead. Because when you face reality, you can start building a real plan instead of living in a fantasy. And when you do that, your mental strength will grow faster than you imagine. If you can't look life in the eye, you will always be at its mercy. But if you can stand there, accept what is, and still move forward, you become unstoppable. That is the first step to stop being mentally weak. Part 2, kill the excuse habit. Excuses are the favorite weapon of the mentally weak. Not because they help, but because they hide the truth. They're the soft pillow you rest your head on while your dreams quietly die. They feel comforting, but they keep you exactly where you are. Every excuse you make sounds reasonable in the moment. I don't have the time. I'm too tired. I'll start when I'm ready. It's just not the right moment. They might even convince other people. But here's the brutal reality. An excuse is nothing more than permission to stay small. Think about it. Every time you tell yourself, I can't, you're building a wall in your own mind, a wall that blocks growth, opportunity, and progress. Mentally strong people don't let that wall exist. They don't say, I can't. They say, how can I? They don't look for the way out. They look for the way through. Let me give you a story. There was a young athlete who dreamed of becoming a national champion. He didn't have the best equipment, the best coach, or even enough money for proper training gear. By all measures, he had every reason to quit. But instead of saying, I can't afford it, he asked, how do I train without it? He ran on the streets instead of a track. He used sandbags instead of weights. He practiced alone when no one else believed in him. Years later, he became a champion not because he had the best resources, but because he refused to let excuses run his life. You have the same choice every day. You can protect your excuses or you can protect your goals, but you can't do both. Here's a simple challenge. Go 7 days without a single excuse. 7 days where every time your mind starts to say, I can't, you stop and ask, how can I? If you don't have the time, make it. If you don't have watch how your perspective changes when you force your brain to find solutions instead of reasons to quit. Remember this. Excuses don't change your life, action does. You can tell yourself the same tired story for the next 5 years, and you'll still be in the same place, wondering why nothing's different. Or you can rip the excuses out by the root and replace them with action. The mentally strong aren't special. They're just ruthless about refusing to let their comfort zone dictate their future. You don't need a miracle. You don't need luck. You just need to kill the excuse habit starting today. Part 3. Build discomfort tolerance. Comfort is the enemy of mental strength. Every time you choose what's easy over what's necessary, you train your mind to be weaker. The truth is, most people aren't defeated by lack of talent or opportunity. They're defeated because they've built their life around avoiding discomfort. But here's the paradox. The more you avoid discomfort, the more fragile you become. Life's challenges feel heavier. Small problems feel like crushing burdens. The tiniest obstacles knock you off course. Why? Because your mind has never learned to handle the weight. Mentally strong people are not born tougher, they become tougher by facing discomfort daily. They put themselves in situations that stretch them, challenge them, and sometimes scare them. They don't wait for hard times to come. They train for them. That's why, when life punches in the face, they don't fall apart to be already been in the fight. Think about a soldier in training. They run in the rain, sleep on hard ground, push their body to the point of collapse, and operate in chaos. They don't do this because it's fun. They do it because they know the battlefield won't care about their comfort. When the real fight comes, they're ready because they've already suffered worse in training. You need to train your mind the same way, not by living recklessly, but by intentionally putting yourself in situations that demand strength. This could be waking up earlier than you want to, taking cold showers, speaking up in a room where you'd rather stay silent, having that difficult conversation you've been avoiding, or pushing through an extra round at the gym when your body wants to quit. Every act of discomfort is a rep for your mind. Every time you endure something hard and keep moving, you're building resilience. And the more resilience you build, the less fear controls you. Here's the trap most people fall into. They think mental toughness comes in one big, dramatic moment, a life or death decision, a single act of bravery. But that's not true. Mental toughness is built in small, daily acts of discipline. It's forged in the moments when no one's watching, when no one's cheering, and when your only motivation is the voice inside your head saying, keep going. Action step. For the next 30 days, do one uncomfortable thing every day. Not something impossible, just something that stretches you beyond your comfort zone. At the end of those 30 days, you won't just feel stronger, you'll be stronger, because your mind will have learned that discomfort isn't a threat, it's a teacher. Comfort feels good now, but it will cost you later. Discomfort feels hard now, but it will pay you for the rest of your life. The choice is yours. Part 4. Control your inner voice. Your greatest battles will never be fought in the gym, on the field, or in a boardroom. They will be fought in the quiet space between your ears. That voice in your head, it can be your best coach or your worst enemy. And for most people, it's been trained to be the latter. Every day, your mind whispers things that can either build you or destroy you. You're not good enough. You're going to fail. Why even try? It's too late for you. You'll embarrass yourself. Other people are better. And here's the thing, the more you listen, the more you believe it. That's how mental weakness grows. Thought by thought, doubt by doubt. But mentally strong people know this truth. You can't stop the voice from speaking, but you can decide what it means. You can choose to challenge it instead of obeying it. Think of your inner voice like a radio. Most people leave it on the default station, the station that plays fear, insecurity, and self-doubt 24/7. But you can change the channel. You can choose to tune into a voice that says, I can do this. I am capable. I've overcome worse. I will not quit. This doesn't happen by accident. It's a skill you must train. The process is simple, but not easy. One, catch it. Become aware when your inner voice is negative or self-defeating. 2. Question it. Ask, is this fact or is this fear? 3. Counter it. Replace it with a statement that fuels action instead of paralysis. Here's a real example. Let's say you're about to give a presentation and your inner voice says, "You're going to mess this up." Catch it. Wait, I'm having a negative thought. Question it. Is there any actual proof I'll fail, or is this just anxiety talking? Counter it. I prepared. I've done hard things before. I will deliver this confidently. The more you do this, the stronger your mental filter becomes. You stop automatically accepting every negative thought as truth, and you start becoming the commander of your own mind. Remember, you talk to yourself more than you talk to anyone else. If the voice in your head is toxic, it will poison your confidence, your energy, and your potential. But if you train it to be your ally, it becomes the most powerful weapon you'll ever have. Action step. For the next week, write down every negative thought that hits you. Then right next to it, write a counterattack statement, something empowering, truthful, and action-oriented. Over time, you'll notice that the negative thoughts still show up, but they no longer control your actions. Your inner voice can keep you chained to weakness, or it can drive you to greatness. The decision isn't made by chance, it's made every single day in every single thought. Part 5. Stop craving approval. One of the fastest ways to stay mentally weak is to keep chasing other people's approval. When your self-worth is in someone else's hands, you're giving them the power to control your emotions, your confidence, and even your decisions. That is not strength, that's dependency disguised as connection. Think about it. How many times have you stopped yourself from speaking your mind because you were afraid of what people would think? How many dreams have you watered down because you didn't want to look too ambitious, too different, or too unrealistic? How many times have you changed your personality to fit in with people who wouldn't even notice if you disappeared tomorrow? That's what approval addiction does. It makes you shrink to be accepted. It convinces you that being liked is more important than being true to yourself. And here's the problem: the more you live for approval, the less you live for purpose. The mentally strong know a truth that mentally weak people struggle to accept. You cannot please everyone, and trying to is a guaranteed path to misery. There will always be people who don't understand you, don't believe in you, or outright dislike you. And that's fine. You're not here to win a popularity contest. You're here to build a life worth living. Let me tell you a story. A young musician once played his heart out at a local cafe. Most people clapped politely, but one man in the back laughed and shook his head. That moment haunted the musician for months, until one day he realized something. That man wasn't paying his bills, wasn't feeding his family, and wasn't living his life. So, why did his opinion matter more than his own dreams? That day, he decided he'd rather play to an empty room than let one critic silence him again. Here's a mindset shift that will make you mentally stronger instantly. Respect opinions. Listen if there's truth in the feedback. But never trade your values for someone else's comfort. Action step. Do something important to you without telling anyone until it's done. Don't ask for permission. Don't fish for compliments. Just do it for you. This breaks the habit of constantly seeking validation before acting. When you stop craving approval, you stop being emotionally fragile. You stop bending your entire life around other people's moods and expectations. And you start living with a freedom most people will never taste. Because the moment you no longer need everyone to clap for you is the moment you become unstoppable. Part 6. Practice emotional control. A weak mind is a slave to emotions. The smallest trigger sets it off: anger or a rude comment, fear at the first sign of risk, sadness when something doesn't go as planned. And once the emotions take over, logic is gone. Decisions become impulsive, reactions become destructive, and opportunities are lost. The mentally strong are not emotionless. They just don't let emotions run the show. They understand that feelings are temporary, but the consequences of acting on them can be permanent. They pause. They assess. They choose their response instead of letting their emotions choose it for them. Think about a leader in a crisis. The team is panicking, the stakes are high, and everything is going wrong. If that leader starts yelling, blaming, and making rash decisions, the entire situation collapses. But if they stay calm, focused, and strategic, they give everyone around them a sense of stability. That's the power of emotional control. It doesn't just save you, it influences everyone connected to you. Here's the truth. Your emotions are valid, but they are not commands. Feeling fear doesn't mean you have to run. Feeling anger doesn't mean you have to lash out. Feeling doubt doesn't mean you have to quit. To build emotional control, practice these 3 steps. 1. Pause before reacting. Even 3 deep breaths can stop an impulsive decision. 2. Label the emotion. Say to yourself, I'm feeling frustrated, or I'm feeling anxious. This creates distance between you and the feeling. 3. Choose the action that serves your long-term goal, not the one that feels good for 5 seconds. Story time. A young entrepreneur was once publicly criticized on social media. His first instinct was to fire back with a harsh reply. But instead, he paused, took a walk, and thought about his brand and his future. The next day, he responded with calm facts and professionalism. That single decision earned him respect and attracted more clients, all because he controlled his emotions instead of letting them control him. Action step. For the next week, every time you feel triggered, don't respond for at least 60 seconds. In that minute, breathe, identify the emotion, and think of the smartest possible action, not the easiest. Understand this. Mastering your emotions doesn't mean you suppress them. It means you master yourself. Weak minds obey feelings. Strong minds use feelings as signals, not instructions. When you own your emotions, you own your actions. And when you own your actions, you own your life. Part 7. Keep commitments to yourself. If you want to know the fastest way to destroy your own mental strength, here it is. Make promises to yourself and break them. Every time you say, I'll start tomorrow, and don't. Every time you tell yourself you'll finish a task and quit halfway. Every time you decide to build a habit and abandon it. After 3 days, you teach your mind one dangerous lesson. My word means nothing. And when your own mind doesn't trust you, you lose confidence, self-respect, and discipline all at once. It's like telling a friend, if you can't rely on your own word, you will crumble under pressure. But if you can trust yourself, you become unshakable. Here's the truth. Small broken promises matter. Skipping one workout might not ruin your fitness, but it sends a signal to your brain that your goals aren't serious. Ignoring your alarm once might not destroy your productivity, but it tells your subconscious that comfort beats discipline. Over time, these small cracks add up, and when a real challenge hits, your mental foundation collapses. Let me give you a story. There was a man who wanted to run a marathon, but he'd never run more than a mile. He started with a promise to run 3 times a week. At first, he hated it, his legs burned, his lungs screamed, and quitting felt easier every time. But he kept going. Week after week, mile after mile, he kept that simple promise to himself. Months later, he ran the marathon. not because he was born a runner, but because he had built the habit of keeping his word. Action step. Pick one small, specific commitment and keep it no matter what for the next 30 days. It could be drinking a certain amount of water daily, reading for 10 minutes, doing 20 push-ups, or waking up at a fixed time. Do not break it. Not once. Let your brain learn that when you say it, it gets done. This is how mental strength grows. Not from huge, heroic moments, but from the daily discipline of honoring your word to yourself. When you keep commitments to yourself, you train your mind to believe you. And when your mind believes you, nothing can stop you. Part 8. Learn to lose and bounce back. Every strong mind has one thing in common. It has failed. Repeatedly. And every time it failed, it didn't stay down, it bounced back stronger. Mental weakness is not failure itself. It's the refusal to recover from it. Most people fear losing. They avoid risks, hide from challenges, and quit when things don't go perfectly. They see failure as a full stop, a sign they're not capable. But that's a lie. Failure is a teacher, not a verdict. It shows you what doesn't work, where you need to improve, and what strength you need to develop. Look at anyone you admire, the athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, leaders. Behind every success story is a series of losses, setbacks, and mistakes. They weren't born invincible. They became strong because they learned the skill of bouncing back. Each failure was a stepping stone, not a roadblock. Here's a story. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Each failure was a discovery of what didn't work. He famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His resilience turned repeated loss into the greatest success of his life. You have the same choice. Every setback, disappointment, or rejection can either break you or build you. The mentally weak choose to break. The mentally strong choose to build. And building takes courage to face defeat, learn from it, and get up one more time than you fall. Action step. Write down your biggest failure. Then write the lesson it taught you. Next, plan one action you can take to turn that lesson into progress. This simple exercise rewires your mind to see failure as fuel rather than a prison. Understand this. Losing doesn't define you. How you respond does. Each time you rise after a fall, you gain mental armor. Each time you face the pain of loss without giving up, you strengthen your resolve. If you want to stop being mentally weak, you must stop fearing failure and start mastering the art of the comeback. Because life is not about never losing, it's about learning to rise every single time you do. Part 9. Choose growth over comfort daily. Every day, you face countless small choices, some obvious, some nearly invisible. Do you hit snooze or wake up early? Do you scroll through your phone or work on your goals? Do you complain about your problems or take action to solve them?
Each choice seems insignificant, but over time, these tiny decisions shape the person you become. Mentally weak people choose comfort. They delay, they avoid, they settle for easy wins instead of meaningful progress. Mentally strong people choose growth. They understand that comfort feels good in the moment but costs them in the long run. Growth feels hard in the moment, but it rewards them for a lifetime. Think about it like this. Imagine two plants. One sits in a shaded, cozy spot, never exposed to the sun or wind. It survives, but it never grows tall or strong. The other faces storms, gets baked by the sun, and fights through rocky soil. It bends, it struggles, but it grows strong, resilient, and unshakable. Your mind is the same. Choose comfort, and you survive. Choose growth, and you thrive. The mentally strong train themselves to make growth-oriented decisions daily. They ask themselves, will this choice make me stronger or weaker, before taking action? They embrace discomfort if it leads to progress. They seek challenges, not excuses. Action step: at the end of each day, ask yourself, did I choose growth today? Write it down. If the answer is no, analyze why and commit to doing better tomorrow. This simple habit rewires your mind to prioritize long-term strength over temporary comfort. Small, consistent growth compounds over time. Every day you push a little harder, learn a little more, and face a little discomfort, your mental strength multiplies. And before you know it, challenges that once broke you feel manageable. Obstacles that once paralyzed you become opportunities. Remember this: mental weakness is not permanent. Every choice you make either strengthens or weakens your mind. You don't need a miracle. You need discipline. You don't need luck. You need daily commitment to growth. The path to mental strength isn't glamorous. It's not a one-time victory. It's the quiet, persistent decision to choose growth over comfort, every single day. And that decision, repeated thousands of times, will make you unshakable. Stop being mentally weak. Now, everything comes down to this: your mind is your most powerful weapon, and also your greatest weakness. Every thought, every decision, every action either strengthens it or weakens it. You have the power to choose. You have the power to stop folding under pressure. You have the power to stop being mentally weak. Mental strength is not a gift. It is earned. It is built day by day, choice by choice, challenge by challenge. It is forged in discomfort, sharpened by failure, and hardened by relentless discipline. It is not about never feeling fear, doubt, or pain. It is about feeling them and moving forward anyway. Look at your life honestly. Where have you let excuses rule? Where have you sought approval instead of your own conviction? Where have you chosen comfort instead of growth? These are the moments that define your strength. And here's the truth: you can change them. Starting now. The mentally strong don't wait for life to get easier. They don't wait for permission, validation, or the perfect moment. They act. They endure. They rise. And the more they rise, the more unshakable they become. You've learned the keys to stop being mentally weak: accept reality, kill excuses, build discomfort tolerance, control your inner voice, stop craving approval, practice emotional control, keep commitments to yourself, learn to lose and bounce back, and choose growth over comfort every day. But knowledge alone is useless without action. So here's your challenge: take everything you've learned today and implement it. Start small, start now, but start. Commit to being stronger than your doubts, tougher than your fears, and bolder than your comfort. Make a promise to yourself, a promise you will never break, that from this moment forward, you will no longer allow weakness to dictate your life. Imagine the life you could build if your mind became your greatest ally instead of your greatest enemy. Imagine the person you could become if every setback fueled your comeback. That life is waiting for you. It is possible. But it requires one thing: deciding, right now, to stop being mentally weak. Rise up. Face the storms. Take control. And when life hits you, as it will, you won't break. You will stand. You will fight. You will conquer. Because from this moment forward, you are no longer mentally weak. You are unshakable. You are unstoppable. You are a warrior.